Okay, class. Right now I want you to think about kindness. I want you to think about a specific time that you experienced kindness. Now, maybe somebody was kind to you. Maybe you saw somebody being kind to somebody else. Maybe you were the one who was being kind and showing kindness towards somebody. Now, do you know what compassion is? Compassion is kindness towards somebody who needs it. So now that instance that you were thinking about, that we talked about, where you experienced kindness, do you think that was compassion? Okay, and why? Right. Okay, and now motivation. That word means that's why we do something. The reason that we do something is our motivation. What are some reasons that we're kind to others, or that we might say kind things to others? Okay. Now let's talk about a trait. A trait is a characteristic that a person has that sets them apart. Now, people may have the same trait, but not everyone's going to have it. So maybe you and your friend are both creative, but maybe somebody else in the class isn't as creative, so that's still a trait. Do you think kindness would be a trait? Why? Okay. Alright, now I want to read to you guys the book Lala's Words by Gracie Jean. Now, while I'm reading, I want you to think about the kind of person that Lala is. And when she does the things that she does, I want you to think about how those things affect others. Alright? Lala's Words by Gracie Jean. Gracie running out the door. Hot, hot, hot. The sidewalk steamed, and the sun hung heavy in the sky. Everyone was still, but Lala was not. Here's the city, and there's Lala in her yellow dress. Lala jumped, and she ran, tripped, and fell. Lala was sweaty, and her clothes always torn. Lala, stay still, her mother said. What child is as rough as you? Lala didn't know, but she did know that she liked to go outside, past Mr. Piatek with his radio, around the corner, down the block. Now, before we go on, I want you to think about what kind of person do you think Lala is? Anybody? What do you think some of her traits might be? Great answers. Alright, so remember, around the corner, down the block, over the fence, in a patch of dirt and concrete, grew short green weeds and leaves, a place of Lala's own. Hello. Hello, friends, Lala whispered. Every morning, Lala ran to her garden. Through the heat, she carried a pot of water, but it was her kind words that made the plants sway and nod. You are stripy and lovely, said Lala. Stop playing with weeds and leaves. You're covered in dirt, called her mother. Grow strong and tall, my friends, said Lala. Be still and quiet, said her mother. You are so very special, sighed Lala. Alright, now what does everyone think motivates Lala to keep visiting her plant friends? Great answers. Let's go on. On the hottest day of summer, Lala's mother had enough. No more, Lala. No more jibber jabber in the dirt and grass. Today, you are staying at home. Lala cried and cried. Who would visit her little friends? So Lala stayed inside, out from the melting heat. From the window, she counted buses wheezing past. She listened to Mr. Piatek with his radio and waved politely when Rosie passed by with their groceries. Throughout the day, she whispered softly, "Hello, hello, friends." She is in her window. At night, the moon rose like a bright eye. Out her window, Lala whispered to her plants, "Good night, my friends. I love you very much." The next morning, the sun didn't burn so strong. It was cool, 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 and breezy under a great big shade. Hector was the first to see. When he looked out his window, he whistled long and hard. Well, look at that. Look at that. Lala's friends had grown strong and tall. So strong and tall, they covered Lala and her neighbors like a fountain under the sun. They had been listening every day that summer, so deeply. They had listened to Lala's words. They had come to find her through the warm night air. Magnificent, my magnificent friends, cried Lala. Lala ran down the stairs. Her mother was staring out the door. Oh, Lala. You are so very special. Her mother held her, close and tight, and Lala felt warm inside. I love you, my amazing girl. Go out and play. And Lala did. See, here's a picture of her running down the street. Now, how do you think Lala showed compassion? And how did her compassion affect the others in the story? Excellent. Now, think about that time that we talked about, or that you're thinking about, that you saw kindness. Think about whether it was compassion or not. And think about the traits about the person who was doing that, being kind. Think about their motivation, why they did that kind of thing. Now, what effects do you think that it had? That kind of act or those kind of words. Great. Now, we're all going to write something about it. I want you to write about that time that you're thinking of that you saw kindness. And I want you to compare it to Lala's story. And we're all going to include at least two effects that you think that kindness had, whether it's on the person that they were doing the kindness for, maybe it's the person doing the kindness, maybe it's others around. Just like Lala affected the plants, and those plants passed it on and affected her neighbors. All right, Great, let's get to writing.